Good morning. It's about 10:30 in the morning. Um, I just this is hard. I don't want to make this. Um, I spoke with my son last night. He was fine. Perfectly fine. Um, but I want to retell the I want to retell what happened yesterday because for me it's like when these things happen, it's like I just went through a war. It's not just uh, nothing, and then my son's fine. It's like I just came out of a battlefield. um so my son was at a wrestling match yesterday, and there was like, God, I mean, the gyms are so packed, guys. If you've never been to these sporting events, that it's like shoulder to shoulder, nut to butt, just people screaming at the top of their lungs. I mean, it's nuts. So I can't be in there. So his grandfather was there, and the plan is, his grandfather's going to text me like before 2 matches before he's up. So that gives me time, because I mean, the parking lot, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars in the parking lot. And so his grandfather was going to text me, a couple matches prior will give me time to get out of the vehicle, get in there and find where they're at, because then it takes time for that. Well, his grandfather kept on trying to call me, and I kept on answering, and I could hear like road noise, but I couldn't hear him. So it's like, okay. Maybe he's trying to get me in there. So I was parked all the way, I mean, way out there at the very end of the parking lot. So I pulled my car around, and I'm coming through the parking lot to get a closer spot, and I'm coming this way, and there's a vehicle coming my way, and he was just stopped right there, just sitting there. And there was this ambulance came pulling in behind him, and like, he's just sitting there. And I'm like, man, that's weird. Why isn't this guy moving, man? So like, I backed way up so that way the guy in that lane could come and move in front of me. Like, the guy wouldn't pull around and behind me. It was weird. I was like, man, this is so weird. So anyways, the guy moved, the ambulance went by. I was able to go around them and find a parking spot. And I went inside, and I got earplugs and everything. I got a beanie that's doubled over, and then my hoodie on, to keep all the noise, and try to keep like blinders on, because all the stimulation. And so I'm sitting there at the double doors. There's so many doors to this damn gym, and I'm outside of the gym, but in the school. And even there, it's completely packed, so I'm jammed up against the door with my face in the window, because I can't handle all that. And all of a sudden, a bunch of his friends just came up behind me and like sort of pushed into me and said, "Hey, Hayden's over here, Hayden's over here." And that was so normal, because the excitement in these wrestling rooms is just crazy. And like, when these kids come and grab a parent that doesn't know their kid's wrestling, that's usually how it goes. So I'm making my way. They're like, "He's all the way on the other end of the gym," and they didn't bother explaining to me what was going on. I guess they assumed I knew. And I thought, so yeah, So I'm making my way, and they're like pushing behind me. I'm like, what the fuck, man? You know, and I'm sitting there just thinking, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch him wrestle. I might have to just walk right out of here. And, I'm being attacked, man. I'm being fucking fucked with really hard. So I get over to the inn, and I'm looking on the mats and looking around. I don't see his team. I don't see anybody, right? And his friends are like yanking him. They're like, no, he's over here. And they're all pointing behind the bleachers, like in the back corner behind the bleachers. And I'm like right there. I'm like maybe 10, 12 feet away. And I can't even see what's going on. That's how many people there are. And I sort of make my way through the people, and there's my son laid out on a fucking gurney, you know, with paramedics around him. And, you know, the moms recognized me, you know, because obviously, so I guess what happened was when it happened, Bubby started heading to the hospital. I still don't even know what that happened, but I guess Bubby started heading to the hospital, and he must have told them that he was going to call me, that I was outside or whatever, and I don't know. So I get in, so the moms they all like, you know, ah! And so guys, you can imagine my overload. When I saw my son there, my knees buckled, and I was like, oh God, you know, I'm going to fucking fall out, you know, and I need to be strong for my son. This shit just ain't right, man. And, so I guess the strongest split I got stood up and took charge, and these moms were yelling at me. They were, I couldn't even really make it out, you know? And I looked down at my son, and I said, Aiden, and he looked at me in the eyes, and I said, breathe. He goes, okay, you know? And, there were two paramedics. There might have been three, but there were two that I noticed, a smaller guy and a bigger guy, down by his head and shoulders, you know? And, when I said that, the smaller guy looked up, like right at me. I just happened to notice his energy look straight at me, you know, and then look back down. And so I told him that, and the moms are like, and everybody, I mean, all the noise guys, you know, and, I'm trying to get this out. I'm racked, like physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, just racked. So I look back, there were two moms. You know, these are the wrestling moms. I mean, they're at everything, you know. And they know me, and I know them. And I said, and you know, what happened? The one woman said, we think his blood sugar was low because he didn't eat. And I went, fuck. Like that, you know, it's just a normal reaction, because I was like, bullshit, you know, because my son's been wrestling since he was like 5 or 6 years old. And I know anytime he's ever been with me, well, for the past 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years, 3 years at least, probably, he doesn't eat before his wrestling matches. So I just thought that was real weird, and it was just a strange thing, because I guess I was looking for answers. And all of a sudden, I hear somebody say, have we found the dad? And like, this is happening right below me. My son is sort of at my feet. There's a couple rows of people kneeling between us. And then me, and then the moms are standing beside me. So the moms that I'm talking to say, yeah, he's right here. And that guy stood up. It was a shorter guy that had looked up when I said something to Aiden. And I swear to God, it looked like he jumped over my son, made a big leap over the two things of people, and got right on me. I mean, like he was attaching himself to me. Oh. And I had to, and he said, he boisterously started asking me a question. And I had to almost move away from him because it almost just blew me over. And then when I moved away, he came right at me again. And I said, dude, I'm having a panic attack. And, when you tell a paramedic that, they should know, But this guy just kept on. He chased me. The double doors, there were other double doors to the back entrance behind the bleachers, because we're beside the bleachers. So we're right beside the double doors there. So I'm making my way. I'm oh my God, I'm gonna pass out. I'm gonna fucking fall over. I'm gonna go into my own fucking, something's gonna happen bad. So I'm making my way to the double doors. He's chasing me and yelling at me for questions, normal questions, what's his name? What's his date of birth? I'm I couldn't even, I'm running to the light, to the door to try to get out, and so I make it out of those double doors, and people could see there's so many people in there, and they're holding the doors open for me, they could see the look, I look like somebody that was a wound. I mean, it's bad, guys. It's bad. It's fucking bad. It's no joke. And I made it out of that door. And I made it into the hallway, and I had to go straight to the wall behind the other double doors and put my hands on the wall and just... And he was there. He was still fucking there. Asking me stupid questions. And I said, man, I can't breathe. And he finally walked away. And I'm standing there for a minute, but there's still so much noise and stuff going on. I was I got myself calmed down enough to where I could, because there was a little hallway. There was stairs behind me going upstairs. There was a little hallway besides that with double doors. And this dude I know, was by the double doors, I guess getting ready for when the ambulance was coming out so he could hold the door. Well, so I got my breath enough to where I was, head first, barreling towards his door, and the boy held the door open for him, man. He knows me, he's known me for, I mean, we're not friends or anything, but, we're acquaintances. We talk here and there, and, so I get outside, and when I get outside is when it really, you just got to allow everything to come, not everything, but more of it, so that way you can get it out of your body, and he said, you all right, dude? And I said, man, leave me alone, I'm having a panic attack. He's like, oh fuck. And I literally fell on my granny, fell on my knees, and I got my hands in there, and I got on my knees, and I'm like, trying to breathe, trying to calm down, knowing my son's in there and needs my strength, and then I'm out here making a fucking scene, and I can't help it, I fucking might as well not even be there. So, I don't know time, but I know I was enough time for me to take my hands down from up in there, and I think I'd put them on the ground. So I'm in a position on my knees and hands on the ground, and next thing I know, that fucking cocksucker came out again, that fucking medic, and was right on, I'm telling you guys, when people saw me, and then I guess, word got around real quick that I was having a panic attack, and, that people knew that I have brain injuries, and that shit ain't right with me. Don't fuck with him. He isn't right. You know what I mean? So when I got outside and I told the other dude, hey man, he kept that door there. He closed that door just enough. I guess he was keeping an eye on me. But there was nobody outside with me. And this cocksucker came barreling through that door. I heard the door fly the fuck open. And he came up to me. And he was, yeah. And like, if he came and he asked me like an important question, because see, I'm in survival mode, so I could have handled, because I could handle hearing sort of the first question, but the first question was something stupid, like, are you the dad or something? And it's like, man, dude, you're a paramedic. I just told you physically saw the symptoms, everything I'm going through, bro. You see, I'm on the ground outside trying to breathe. My son's in there on a stretcher. And you're fucking asking me if I'm his father. I mean, what the... And you're crowding me again. I said, dude, leave me the fuck alone. I'm having a fucking panic attack. And he acted mad. Like, I'm not looking. I'm looking at the fucking ground. And I can just see his shoes, like, right there. Like, right over top of me. What the fuck? What's wrong with people? There's no empathy, man. There's no fucking empathy. He said, well, I gotta ask you questions. And then he just turned around and walked away. And then it made me feel even worse, So my drive, I had to fucking push even harder to get physically to fucking not be such a little bitch, So I stood up and I fucking almost fell over, and I went over to the wall and put my hands against the wall for, like I said, I don't know time, guys. Everything was transpired so quickly, but I guarantee, it had to been, this whole process had to been about 10, 15 minutes, I would guess. If I had to make a guess, I'd say 10 to 15 minutes. And, so then, I got my breath back enough to where I could take my hands back down, and I started walking, pacing. Just hoping, because I knew they were going to take my son would be coming out anytime on a stretcher, and I was going to have to at least look him in his eyes and project strength, and keep peace and calm. Huh? Oh. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, I hope he comes out now. I think I can do it. And next thing I know, okay, because I was pacing, and then I took my pace right beside the ambulance there, and I was between the ambulance and the building, and the double doors is right around the corner, and I heard the door slam open. I was like, okay, he's coming, And I'm pacing, and as I was pacing, I was walking away from the double doors that way, and sure enough, man, if it wasn't that cocksucker again, right up behind me. What's your name? What's his name? What's his date of birth? And I said, motherfucker, if you don't get back, I said, I got PTSD, I got traumatic brain injury, so fuck! And he just turned around and walked away. And next thing I know, and and it got me so goddamn. And I'm just sitting there staring. I saw him walk around the corner. This is literally, guys, this makes no sense. He walked around the corner, not even 30 seconds later, here they come. Not even 20 seconds later, here they come. So what I'm trying to say is, because that would have fucking took me over to the side. But I was still just so ramped. Like, this guy made me literally think I was by the third time he did that to me, being a paramedic, knowing better, it was too much, guys. So my heart was racing so fast. I mean, I was ready to fight to the death the next motherfucker that came and crowded my space again, you know. And but not even 20 seconds later, here they come with my son on the gurney, you know. And they rolled him out, and I moved, you know, so that way they could get him by, and then they had to turn him around. So I moved out of the way completely. You know, I wasn't crowding. I wasn't making this about me. I was, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel so bad, because I mean, god damn. I mean, his thing going on, but look, man, he grown up down here. You know, been wrestling with the same kids, same people. He's 14. You know what I mean? These people all talk and know each other, and I caused a scene where at my son's craziest fucking story up there, you know, it's half about me now. So they spun him around and back, you know, put him up against the ambulance, and that's when I looked down and put my hand on his shoulder, and I said, "You okay?" And he looked at me, he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, it's all right, buddy. It's okay." I said, "It's just an experience. That's all it is. It's just an experience. In this world that this loving God made for you, you know. It's another experience." So, I got, it's just so much, man. It's so overwhelming. They told me what hospital to go. I went to the hospital, and I'm gonna stop. I'll do 2 videos.